I'm experimenting with the floor and trying to sort out that bulkhead as well. So the floor is a composite of the rubber stable mat, Celotex and ply. I'm going to try living with this for a day and just get a feeling for the height of the ceiling, because the height of the ceiling is, well, the height of the ceiling is me. I think I can live with that because I tend not to stand like that anyway. I can walk around in here. I can walk around in here without braining myself. Floor of the van, 9mm ply in between rubber stable mat, 12mm. I don't think it's very thick. 25mm of Celotex and then 12mm of hardwood ply. Like everything else in this project, it is over-engineered. So I figure if I plan for the apocalypse, anything less than that, I'll be comfortable. Anyway, this floor is really thick. The insulation, because it's very thick and slightly compressed, it's causing the ceiling board to bow a little. But once the cupboards go in, that will draw the ceiling up. I'm going to build the front step here. The bare shell of it is starting to come together. Now this board is, well, not bolted in, the thread on that is fucked. And once that's screwed in tight, that will sit quite close to there. There in the front, that's my condensation reducing thing. It's got some kind of soda crystals of some sort. I cut around the bulkhead. It's like, it looks shit. It looks really shit. Just a mess, it looks like shit. Big old gaps, it just looks like shit. But I have started on the step because I wanted to get the step done before I start cutting the floor tomorrow. I'm still waiting for the adhesive to dry because the floor isn't actually flat. I can't screw down. I'll draw that wood down to the floor, which isn't flat because it's higher at the sides for some reason. Got a knife. It's a sharp one. But I am wearing gloves. I cut the tip of my glove off. That was hard work. One done. For this next bit here, I've just measured the width and averaged it because sometimes it's a bit wider, sometimes it's a bit narrower, and I've just picked what should be about right. As I'm cutting along this edge here, I'm going to put a piece of wood underneath just so I can easily bend it to get the knife in, because I have to work through the material because it's so hard. I think this is one of the best purchases for the build of the van so far. It made such a difference to the noise, the vibrations coming up from the floor. I measured the overlap, and the overlap is 12.5 centimeters, using a steel rule and a set square, 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, and then join the dots. I've done the same here. Notice that I cut a 12.5 centimeter square. If somehow my dots end up out here, and I've fucked up somewhere. I'm going to stop for the night because it's 9 o'clock and all my tools are freezing cold. The Celotex, the polyiso stuff, that's cut to width. I'm staggering the joins. For the rubber, the join is about here. All these materials are about the same width. The Celotex, the meat in the sandwich, I'm going to have a narrow strip, wide strip, another wide strip, and then the final thin strip by the back doors. With the joins staggered, I'm not going to have anything kind of rocking up and down. I don't think it will anyway, but let's eliminate that one as well. There's my template for cutting in around there. It's quite snug. With my leftover Celotex, I'm gonna make a little Celotex plug, because there's a hell of a draft coming in through there. Those little heaters, they actually don't warm up the air. They are a bit like the sun's rays. If you're a little to the side, if it's not pointing directly at you, you're not getting the heat. I'm wearing gloves, not just for protection. I'm wearing gloves because my hands are cold, my feet are cold, my legs are cold. I'm wearing a hat. I don't know if I've mentioned on video before, but I don't have heating in the house either. I've got one of these little heaters in the house as well, just to take the chill off the room that I live in there, because the rest of the house is, I don't use it, and I'll be happier when the house is sold and I can move on. Brass monkeys, and that heater's not doing anything. That was hard work, but the rubber floor's in. So tight, so tight. Same the other side. Super tight, super tight. Right up to the back of the van, and it still leaves me space for me to insulate the door. And I'm wondering how easy it might be for me to slightly overlap the inside of the doors. It's starting to look like a livable space. With all the tools out, it feels like a really good sized living space. Celotex is all cut to width. I've not run out of day, just run out of daylight. I realised as I was working on the floor that I was going to need to put at least the front of the step on. I'm going to congratulate myself on my cutting shapes skills. Yeah, look at that, yeah, skills. I've just put some temporary boards down, because while I'm walking over it, I don't want to leave great big crunchy footprints in it. Now, because it is soft, I'm going to trim off a section there and replace it with wood, so that it's weight bearing. Same for the back. Focus, focus, focus. There we go. This camera doesn't do well in the cold. I'm regulating my temperature much like a tortoise. Do they regulate their temperature? I'll talk some shit, don't I? I'm gonna stop for the night. It's 9:30 and I'm getting a bit clumsy because I'm a bit tired. Also, I spilt my coffee. There is my cardboard template. This is my vapor barrier for the floor, rough cut to size. The step there is looking good. I've got a clamp on at that end just to pull it in a bit tighter against the metal. Okay, good night.